I'm on a quest. So I started with piano, yes, when I was age 4, and playing classical pieces, classical piano. And then when I was 15, I started playing guitar. I really wanted to play like Pink Floyd and all that stuff that I was listening to. That's what I knew, really. That I was not listening to Mozart or Bach. I didn't care at all. I cared about Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and The Police, The Cure. That's what I liked.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to play because that's what I knew. So I started the guitar and I felt like the guitar, I was always attracted by the guitar. But it was always a mystery to me. I never thought that I could play the guitar. Like it was like a mysterious instrument. So I plunged in it like you plunge into magic, you know. And I started like playing like Pink Floyd and stuff, and I realized like because of the piano, I could understand like pretty fast what was going on, like find the notes and stuff like that, or like see the organization. How does it work? How does a guitar work? And then I immediately understood. My teacher was like, okay, you have E, A, D, and they have like a semitone per fret, and this is how it works. I was like, oh, okay. So that went very fast. And then he showed me like a pentatonic, and he's like, you can improvise. I was like, really? Wow. So I started improvising. And after like a couple of months I was playing, I started in April when I was 15, so like 89. In April 89, I bought my guitar, my first guitar. And by the summer, in July, August, I was like playing the blues, improvising, and all that already because of the piano. I had the dexterity, I had like already some things happening. So that allowed me to get to those first steps like really quick. So that was great. And then so I dug into like the rock stuff. By the time I was 17, a couple of years later, I was like really playing a lot, all the time. I developed like an obsession for the guitar, almost like right away. The obsession for the guitar, as soon as I touched it and I started to play, I went into it. I plunged in it, and all I did was practice. Like the weekend, I would spend my whole day practicing. The night I would come home and all I would do was practice. I just loved it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a complete obsession.
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
And then, so when I was 17, I decided I wanted to be a musician. And when I graduated from high school, I decided to learn jazz. I was like, the first thing I need to learn is jazz. First, I went to the university, didn't work at all. I lasted 1 month in what we call musicology, meaning like you study like classical music and counterpoint, and then it's in order to become like a teacher. I was like, I'm not going that. I'm not doing that. So I plunged into the Dionysiac, wild, chaotic musician's life, the unknown, because there is no rule. We don't know what's going on. You don't know anything. But all I knew is like if I practice a lot and I become good, good things are gonna happen. That's all I knew. So I started practicing a lot like that. Or I would practice like 8, 10, 12 hours. Like I would practice all the time. But then I decided like, okay, I need to learn jazz. I want to understand jazz because I have the feeling that there's something in there that in order to become a complete musician, because I was on a quest, so I wanted to know the guitar. Not just like, oh, be a rock player. I didn't care about like I'm not tied to that kind of idea. I really wanted to like discover the guitar and become good at it. So, and I knew that studying jazz was like a very important component. So I asked my teacher, I said, I want to study jazz. Like, okay. And he showed me like Minor Swing by Django Reinhardt. And Django was the only name I knew in jazz. That's the only thing I knew.
Right.
I knew Miles Davis, a couple of names like that.
Yeah.
Louis Armstrong, Miles Davis. I never heard of Coltrane. You know what I mean? Like it was very like I didn't know anything about jazz.
Yeah.
And then I plunged into the music of Django because that's the first thing that became available to me as far as jazz. And then I discovered that whole world of the gypsies.
Right.
And then I plunged into it. That fascinated me. I never saw guitar played like that. I was like, whoa, There was like a ton of brick fell on me. Boom! Like, whoa, what's going on? You know, I almost got. I remember clearly I was watching a band called La Chaudrome. You see, where I'm from, Fontainebleau is where Django was based.
I see.
That's where he's buried. That's where he lived. That's where he's buried. And his presence are always been strong. You know, I was 15 years old and I was drinking with his son. You know what I mean? So he was always in the same bars we were going to. There was Babik, there was Django's son. Okay, so I was always naturally we were always in contact with that world without even really knowing it. You know.
Yeah.
That's when I went for the first time to the Django festival that happens every year in my town. In just right after high school at that moment when I was like in 92, 93, something like that. That I saw La Chaudrome. And I saw the Gypsies play. The first thing I saw a guy take a guitar at the guitar stand, you know, for the luthier, take a guitar, strum a few notes. Then another guy would come with a guitar, sit down, and then they start a song. With amazing virtuosity, amazing rhythms, like real music, you know. I was like, whoa. And then another guy would sit down, play the rhythm, another guy, and before you knew it, you had like 5 or 6 guys playing, trading solos and all, creating music right on. And then they put the guitar down, they leave. I was like, that's amazing. I love that. And then I saw that band, La Chaudrome, and I remember I was by a tree watching that and be like, wow. And suddenly I felt like something big was falling on me, like, that's that you've been looking for. You're going to learn that, and you're going to play that. Because I could see the potential of it, and I had the feeling I had to like know what was going on and transmit it. Because that's just the beginning of the journey for me. Then I started to really study that. I went with the Gypsies, and I studied like Django with them for years until I moved to the US when I was 26. I went to school. Then I moved to New York when I was 29. This is when I started like playing my music, composing, and all that, you know. But since then, I've still been on a thread of something that would be a completude, you know, as a whole, that would make everything fall into a whole. And I didn't understand what it was. And now I do. I finally saw what was going on. And it all leads back to jazz. And when I say jazz, the word jazz, I'm not confused. A lot of people are confused. We've been confused with the word jazz. We've been confused with marketing technique from the recording industry. In reality, jazz is an archetype. It's something that was born in New Orleans in the late 19th century or mid-19th. We don't really know because we have no traces. We just know that Louis Armstrong learned from people who were already playing that, you know? So he started recording, but before that, there was a whole world of that happening, you know? Now, the way I perceive it is the right people were at the right time, at the right place, with the right instrument and all, and suddenly they started to manifest a certain frame, which is the swing. So they manifested that frame with the counterpoint between the brass instruments and the percussion. And that gave birth to what we call jazz. Jazz